our channel all over Indian news. Please like, share, and subscribe for daily updates.
Stays with me on this special broadcast. Adrian, your take on the word that's coming in from Iran. American interests in the region will be targeted. American civilians are fair game.
As Colonel Spencer said, that would be a grave mistake on the part of the Islamic Republic. But once again, the enemy always gets a vote. It's interesting that they're talking about cutting off the Strait of Hormuz. That's something that they always have threatened going back to the 1980s during the tanker war, 1980 to 80, or 86 to 88. But we have to look at the Iranian Navy, what that consists of. And what you have are a couple ships and a lot of these bog hammers, which are these fleet boats with 50 caliber machine guns and some rocket launchers on the side. And they are no match against the American Air Force. We also did see some action by earlier before the American bombings of at Bandar Abbas. The reporting was that at Bandar Abbas they were hitting drone factories. It also looked like, if you know anything about how they patrol the Persian Gulf, that's one of their main bases for the IRGC, both using air and sea. So they try and take retaliatory measures along the sea, and it's going to lead to more losses.
Colonel Spencer, your appreciation of this threat that's being reported by the Iranian media that they will target U.S. bases and U.S. interests in the region?
It's reckless. Hopefully it's just words for the sake of the Iranian people. I don't want any more Iranian people caught in the crossfires of what the Islamic regime has done. It would be, President Trump said it would be the end of them if they made that fatal decision. Israel was doing plenty of good enough job of destroying Iranian military, IRGC, even the besieged they're attacking. And they've just gotten a resupply of ammunition. So Iran doesn't want to fight with the United States. That is awful. This is actually a chance to end this, to give up the nuclear program. They can lick their wounds at this point, but that's just reckless statements to threaten the United States. Hopefully it doesn't lead to action.
Lick their wounds, perhaps, but will they also speed up their nuclear program covertly now? The facilities that have been taken down, fair enough. We still have to wait for the bomb damage assessment to know the extent of damage. But other secret locations, and Iran for a very long time has said they've got multiple secret locations. Now they'll speed up their weapons program. Can they do that?
I don't think so. Of course, let me give you an example. The Mossad had infiltrated the Iranian IRGC and military so much that they texted the night before the attack all of the generals, had all the generals come to a secret location to talk about Israel, and then Israel blew that location up. They're infiltrated. So the idea that they could run a secret program, which is why Israel says that they initiated this operation, because they were running a secret program. Could they find more nuclear scientists? Could they build new sites? Eventually, yes, and that's why there has to be a political solution. They can't do that anytime soon, and they might want to check their intelligence kind of apparatus if they're this far infiltrated.
Oh, absolutely. And Adrian, is this then endgame of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's regime that's set up? And that question that I'd put to Harold Road too, is there somebody waiting in the wings? Because there are commentators who say that the son of the Shah of Iran has been living overseas for so long, he cannot just come over and take over a government, take over a system as huge as Iran. It will be in some form, even if it's not the Ayatollah, some form of the same regime that will continue.
Well, I think well, if you look at the Shah, and I'll say the Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, yes, he has been living in America for a long time, but he is, if you look at certain polls, you see about 70%, 60% on the lower side, as a recognizable opposition figure that people favor in Iran right now, inside Iran. And then outside in the diaspora, it's somewhere around the same number. he is and has been very public that, he does not want to be the leader of this country. He wants to oversee a transitional type of government. It's not up to us to decide what comes next as far as type of government if this regime does collapse. But the Crown Prince, he does, I think, restore continuity with the past of Iran, this rich history that they have. You can't say that he's his father. He's not his father. He's different, and he's got he's got there's a lot of people in America and around the world that want to go back and rebuild this country. So I think there is and you also have to look inside Iran. I don't believe we're going to see and we've learned from our mistakes, and we're not going to do this, but you're not going to see a de-Baathification type process that we saw in Iraq.
Okay.
You're going to have people from the government that were working at these lower level jobs that are going to be, they're going to be part of this rebuilding Iran if it comes to that point. But really, the ball's in Khamenei's court. He has continually miscalculated since October 7th, over and over and over again.
That's interesting. You say that there will be no Iraq-like de-Baathification, because we saw the chaos that Iraq descended into. We saw the chaos in Libya post-Gaddafi. Is there an apprehension, Colonel Spencer, the same could happen in Iran if there was a haphazard? Because there are many who say that Benjamin Netanyahu didn't have a plan. His only plan was regime change or target the nuclear assets. What then? There was no rebuild plan. You buy that argument? You buy that logic that was put forward by some analysts?
I do not buy the logic that this resembles Iraq for sure. I was there on the ground when they decided not just to overthrow the Saddam regime, but also to fire everybody from the former Ba'ath Party, everybody you would need to rebuild a country, and then went on a failed nation building mission. Nobody, Netanyahu, the president, Trump, nobody has said regime change is the goal. But to be sure, I mean, there's 90 million freedom-loving Iranian people in Iran that don't favor the Islamic regime. This is also not Libya. This is not a third world country with multiple rivaling clans that the NATO stepped in to do for humanitarian reasons and led to sheer chaos. It's apples to oranges. It isn't the objective. I personally don't think it should be the objective. If the Ayatollah continues to miscalculate and weaken so much so that the people can take to the streets like they did during the Women Life Freedom Initiative, that's great. But nobody in the West. So I think that's a kind of a lazy comparison for those analysts that do that.
So no comparison with Libya